Hello everyone, you can call me Hallie, and welcome back to the land of Kaldur, my original story world. Last time we finished building the village, and I left you all with a hint about what was coming next. The word Crystal Shalirin. And I'm going to tell you now what that means. The word Crystal Shalirin translates to Crystal Cave in Icelandic. So we're going to be building a crystal cave. And I'm very excited about this because it is the most lore-filled place in the entire world. I'm so excited to share it with you. I was looking for a very specific cave for this. I didn't want one of the deep crevices that went on forever, like the one over here. I still needed it to be an ice biome. Also, I didn't want to be too far from the village because there is a few days' journey involved, but it's not horrifically far, and I was actually pretty lucky to find this location. This is the exact sort of cave that I wanted. And the village is right over there in that direction, just outside of render distance, so not very far at all. So let's take a quick peek inside. Very dark, dim looking cave, but it just goes down straight, just like this, ends right here, and is the perfect size for our project here. I am going to, keep the ice, right here, because it is perfect for the vibes. But I will be widening this out a bit more than it already is, just so we have room to build. Also, you all can rejoice now, because I have emptied my inventory. It is empty. It is no longer crammed full of horrors. You can rejoice now. And you should rejoice now because it's not going to stay that way. I will tell you that right now. Here's our cave. I'm going to hollow it out. And then we're going to come back and build some crystals. Alright, here we go. This is what the cave looks like now. I've added a few branches off on either end. They just end into dead ends. But according to the description I wrote out, this is what's here, so they try to make the walls look a little rough and natural and bow out a bit on either side, and it ends down here in this wide circle-ish sort of place. Very cool. Now, the floor's gonna be made out of ice, I think. The whole floor. We got that. We may use packed ice, maybe, as we go in. We're gonna cover the whole floor in that. We also have some amethyst here. Figure out where to place those in a second. But while I get started placing this ice, I think it's time to explain what's going on with this cave. And, spoiler, there's a lot going on with this cave, let me tell you. Yeah, so to start with, this is a cave that is rich in the crystals that are mined so frequently out here. However, this particular cave has gone untouched, despite it being not very far from civilization. And that is because it is suspected to be the original location of the Eternal Winter. I've talked about the Eternal Winter a little bit before, when it came to Tyr and all of his doings, but I don't think I talked a lot about how it really all started. And it all started a very long time ago, when a freeze... The Eternal Winter is a freeze that sealed over the entire planet of Kaldur and destroyed most of its resources, making it very difficult to survive in. In the end, only 10 people survived. A few from each of the species, and at that point, the small amount of resources that had not been consumed yet became enough for them to survive it on. And eventually, the eternal winter faded, and Kaldur once more became habitable, and they rebuilt. But along the way, they discovered that the eternal winter was not some freak of nature or some other accident of that sort. It was not a natural phenomenon. It had been created by the three great beasts. The three great beasts will have names that you may or may not be familiar with. Again, this highly depends on how much you know about Norse mythology. But the three great beasts were creatures of great power and magic, and their names were Fenrir, Sleipnir, and the great serpent Jormungand, or however you pronounce it. They had combined their powers to create the eternal winter in an attempt to destroy all living things. That's what the eternal winter was meant to do. It would freeze out everything. But they had a second purpose for the eternal winter. There is deep magic that lies deep in the heart of Kaldur, and for a long time it came out in strange and wondrous creatures, and things of that sort. It was sort of an innate magic, but as time went on it had slowly been dying. So the three great beasts colluded and decided to come up with a way for that magic to carry on. And inside the eternal winter, they planted a seed of that magic. And should something come in contact with the eternal winter and walk away again without dying, then that seed would be given to them. Now, it's important to note two very specific things. One is that no one ever discovered the location of the original eternal winter. Like, in fact, people only heard rumors that this was the place. And that was enough for them. They didn't want to come near this place. But it just faded. No one ever found it and put a stop to it. No one ever conquered it fully. And that's part of why no one wants to come near her here, because they suspect that they're going to come in contact with it and die. So this is a place that people are very superstitious of. And the other thing I want to tell you before we conclude and go back to talking about the building is that my main character receives the seed. And I'm not going to tell you what that means for the rest of the story, but it might be an important piece of information to know. Alright, we're going to build our crystal right here. It glows so brightly. So this is going to be fun. I'm going to be figuring this out on camera. We're just going to start with building up a little thing like this. And again, I am not doing this all by myself. This is off a very, very, very old video by one Good Times with Scar. Thank you for his very old crystal builds. I would not be able to figure out where to start without those. So, our first crystal feels a little transparent, so I may put something else on the rest of the walls, so you can see it's not just like bare stone behind it, and to give it maybe a bit more contrast. Oh, why are these different colors? I thought they were both purple. Hang on, that's because that's magenta. Wonderful. Allow me to grab the purple. So there's our first crystal. I like it. Get this. Nope, still don't like it. But bedrock is so weird sometimes. Why? Why? Of all the noises, is it just defaulting to this noise? Not just the glass either. I know for a fact turnips have a very unturnipy noise when you break them. Really want the end rods in there because the whole place is supposed to be really bright and glowing. And why do I hear a wandering trader? You, sir, leave me alone. I genuinely don't see him and that scares me. The inside... I swear, if he spawned inside the cave, I don't know what I'm gonna do. He's not inside the cave. Okay. Okay, we're clear there. I heard him. I'm pretty sure y'all heard him too. There's some... Aha! Why are you by yourself, sir? Why are you by yourself? Where are your llamas? Where have your llamas gone? I don't understand. Wow. I don't know what to do with you, sir. I really don't. Okay, so I'm about halfway done here. It's actually looking really nice now that I've got more of the crystals and I'm figuring out what goes in all of the in-between spots as well. This is a slightly bigger undertaking than I expected, but keep going. I have had some issues with melting, and so I've been replacing some parts with blue ice here, and incorporating the lapis a little bit. It doesn't look super great from here, but that's just because I have night vision on. When I'm all done, I'm going to turn it off and we can see it in all of its glory. I'm really excited for that. Not entirely sure what I'm going to do in these passageways though, because they're so tiny. Hopefully I can get like at least a little bit of crystal nonsense in there. Same down here. Yeah, so I'm just going to keep plugging away, and I'll see you when I'm done. Alright. Done, guys. Take a look. In all of its glory, in all of its proper lighting, without the night vision. And I think it looks amazing. It really came together once I started actually working on it. I added in some of the amethyst and the amethyst buds just so get vibe. And it helps match up the color scheme really well. Yeah. Like, it looks like a magical place now. And I even got some of the crystals in these back passageways here where there wasn't a lot of space, and I'm super happy about that. Yeah. Really like the sound of amethyst. Like, I'm just jumping on the same one over and over, and it's kind of making a song just all by itself. I really like it. Wonder if I should put some, like, in the floor? So you can kind of hear the ringing as you walk down it. Like, that would really help with the magical vibe of the place. Here's, like, the chamber down at the very end. I have this giant patch of snow here, which is where the source is gonna go. Which we are going to build next time. Not now. Sorry, guys. Yeah, but look at it. The glass. Look at the crystals. Look at the amethyst. Wow. Now, the first time I turned off the night vision, I quickly came to the discovery that tinted glass blocks out more of the light than I expected. And it was originally really dim down here. And it kind of had a bit of a mystical air, but it was a bit too dark for my liking. So I had to rip out some of the tinted glass in some places. Like here. Versus over here where I left it in. But all I had to do was like 2 or 3 and it really, really helped. Well, I don't know why I wasn't doing it at first because I did tinted glass the whole way. I think. Looking at this one, I'm not sure now. But like most of them are tinted glass. Like, okay, you can kind of see with this one how much light's being blocked out. Yeah. I really like this place. I think it's one of the most beautiful things I have actually ever built in Minecraft. Yeah. And I'm actually going to end this here. Because not this video, but the video after this is coming out while I'm going to be gone on a trip. So it's going to be beneficial to just break this up and put it into smaller parts. We're going to build the source in the next video and then do some external landscaping, which will be pretty cool. And then that should be enough work for me to actually get it done in time so I have something to show you both this week and the week after next. So, not to worry. Not to worry, you'll still get your content. So, look. There's the Trader Llama again. The Trader Llama with his llamas. That did not come out right. But, last time we saw him, he did not have his llamas, and I don't know where he found his llamas, but you know what? It's fine. Actually, he's lost one of his llamas all of a sudden. His llamas are running away from him. I don't know if that's good or not. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!